Hello everyone, this is Lego Toby, and we're in the end game now. Or in other words, I will be doing a comparison of the Lego Avengers Compound Battle from 2019. The set number for this Lego set is 76131. Was released back in spring of 2019. Has 699 pieces, 4 minifigures, 1 microfigure, 2 big figures, and originally retailed for $100 in the United States. And I'll be comparing it to this Lego set, the LEGO Avengers Endgame Final Battle, with 6 minifigures, 1 microfigure, 1 big figure, had 527 pieces, was released back in summer of 2021, and retails for $70 in the United States. And the number for this one is 76192, so yeah. And as you can tell, this is going to be the largest YouTube video that I'll make on my YouTube channel for quite some time, I'd say. I even have like a little battle going on here where like the figures from these two Lego sets are like fighting against each other. Like you can tell, this is a big YouTube video, and yeah, this is definitely one I'm really excited to make. So let's get right into this. Let's start with the figures. So yeah, I'm going to like take a minute and put everything down. So yeah, that's what's going to happen. So yeah, so the first thing I may as well just compare is the two Ant-Man microfigures, the one from the Avengers Compound Battle and the one from the Avengers Endgame Final Battle. Yeah, I literally, removed, like, everything from the desk, because this is how massive this video is going to be. So, yeah, but, and both figures are exclusive to their own Lego sets. And yeah, this one is wearing a Quantum Realm suit, and this one is an exclusive to the Avengers Endgame Final Battle. And I have seen some images of the Captain America Civil War Airport Battle Lego set, and this is indeed a different Ant-Man microfigure than the one from the Airport Battle set from 2016, so keep that in mind. So technically, yes, this is indeed exclusive. I don't have the Airport Battle Lego set, unfortunately, but I have seen images of it, and definitely enough to where I can safely say this is an exclusive minifigure to the Avengers Endgame Final Battle Lego set. And yeah, so which is a better microfigure? I kind of feel this one, because it does use the, I guess, iconic Ant-Man suit, I suppose, and this one is just a normal Quantum Realm suit. And unlike your, average minifigure with the Quantum Realm suit, it just does not have that, it doesn't have the shininess your average Quantum Realm suit minifigure would have. So I think I'm kinda giving the reward to this minifigure a little bit. So, yeah, so I guess for Team Avengers Endgame Final Battle, 1 point for the figure selection so far. Now the next minifigure I will be comparing is Iron Man Mark 85, which are actually, believe it or not, the same minifigure. Back when the Avengers Endgame Final Battle Lego set was first released, the Iron Man Mark 85 minifigure was exclusive to that Lego set, but then come 2021 with the release of the Avengers Endgame Final Battle, this minifigure was actually reused. So they are indeed the same minifigure, and both of these figures were also reused in the Sanctuary 2 Endgame Final Battle as well. Again, they are the same figure, except all you get with Iron Man Mark 85 in the original Avengers Compound Battle is just a couple of transparent blue Power Blast pieces, and just a couple of what I like to call 1x1 cylinder pieces in transparent blue. And yeah, and you also get the visor piece, which features the same normal face print, and that's everything this minifigure has to offer. Not only does the same figure from the Avengers Endgame Final Battle set have everything that this figure has, but this figure has more, as you can tell. It has a brick-built shield just like from the movie Avengers Endgame, as well as a new Power Blast piece released in 2021 that is really cool in my opinion. I really like it. Not to mention that LEGO also gave this Tony Stark minifigure his own hairpiece, so that way if you wanted to have Tony Stark without his helmet, well, you can actually. And that is something, and the same just unfortunately cannot be said for this Iron Man minifigure. I think it is clear who the winner is in this case scenario. So, dare I say it, but 2 points for Team Avengers Endgame Final Battle. 2021 is definitely winning so far. The next, okay, and of course we have the big guy himself, the Mad Titan, Thanos, which, yeah, I think it is pretty clear who the winner is of this. Finally, LEGO gave Thanos his accurate double-bladed sword, or butter knife sword, I should say. But honestly, in real life, I don't think it'd even work as a proper butter knife. And as for the original 2019 Thanos big figure, he just has a brick-built hammer. And honestly, I don't even recall Thanos even having a hammer in Avengers Infinity War or Endgame. But I do remember him having the butter knife sword, or I don't think it looked like a butter knife in the movie, but okay. But this Thanos big figure also comes with an Infinity Gauntlet, which features the Power Stone and the Time Stone. So, at least there's that, which the 2021 Thanos big figure does not. So, yeah, so at least, and there's also another thing going for the 2019 Thanos big figure, but I may as well just remove their weapons and just compare the two big figures. So, yeah, and let's face it, the torso printing for the 2021 version is a lot more detailed. Heck, the 2021 version even has, like, some leg printing, whereas the original 2019 version doesn't. Not to mention, the original 2019 version also uses the same Thanos mold as the original 2016 version, that just has the helmet. While LEGO gave the 2021 version a completely brand new torso and headpiece, which, yeah, it's a really large, big figure headpiece, and you can actually remove the Thanos head, whereas the original 2019 version, you can't, because it's just on there. And yeah, and you just get a completely brand new piece. Heck, there's even studs on the back, so that's really cool. And in general, I can safely say that the new 2021 Thanos big figure is a lot better than the original 2019 version. But the 2019 Thanos big figure does have one more thing up its sleeve, quite literally. And the fact that the original 2019 Thanos big figure does at least have arm printing to represent armor. So that there is at least one thing to want the original 2019 Thanos big figure for, and that is indeed its arm printing. Like, let's see how well the arm-printed Thanos big figure's arms looks like on the new 2021 version. Yeah, that looks pretty cool, actually. So, yeah. But in general, and honestly, it is pretty rare for a big figure to have arm printing. I can't really name or think of any big figures that do have arm printing, aside from maybe Darkseid from the DC LEGO theme back in 2015. But even then, it was only like arm printing at around like on the top of his arms maybe. So, yeah, but aside from that, arm printing is definitely a pretty big rarity for big figures. So, yeah, but aside from the arm printing, the new 2021 Thanos big figure is definitely a massive improvement over the original 2019 version. I'm sorry, but the hammer build is kind of and I don't even recall Thanos using a giant hammer in the movie. And the butter knife sword is at least something from the movie. And while sure, the 2019 Thanos does come with an Infinity Gauntlet, while the new 2021 version doesn't, at least, at least it's something, the 2018 Thanos big figure also had. I can safely say that the 2021 Thanos big figure is a lot better than the 2019 Thanos big figure. Alrighty, and now that's basically about it for characters that are in both LEGO sets. Now let's just take a look at characters that are just exclusive, well, maybe not exclusive, but in their own LEGO sets. I suppose we should first compare Captain Marvel and Wanda, since I guess in both LEGO sets they are kind of similar, I guess. I mean, both figures do indeed have Power Blast pieces, so there is that. And, yeah, and Captain Marvel has a common translucent orange Power Blast pieces, while Wanda, on the other hand, has a new, and as of recording this video, exclusive pink Power Blast pieces. Not to mention, all Captain Marvel gets is just like this transparent orange disc that just makes it more kind of for display, while Wanda, on the other hand, actually has a brand new 2021 Power Blast, I guess, base piece, I'll call it, which definitely looks a lot more natural. Like, a lot more natural. With this, it just, I don't know, looks like something you'd probably expect out of a video game, maybe. So, yeah, so Wanda definitely has much better Power Blast pieces than Captain Marvel does. And, yeah. And as far as the two minifigures themselves without the Power Blast pieces, honestly, I can easily say who the winner is. I mean, let's face it. Wanda has a much more interesting face print, a lot more interesting torso printing, while Captain Marvel has what may or may not be a reuse of a face print, inaccurate hair color. The torso printing is fine, but there's nothing else about this Captain Marvel minifigure. As a matter of fact, I actually feel that the 2019 movie Captain Marvel minifigure is probably the worst Captain Marvel minifigure that LEGO has ever given us. Whereas Wanda, I mean, sure, the 2016 Wanda is probably somewhat better, but even then, this is not the worst variant of Wanda we have ever gotten from LEGO, in my opinion. While I wouldn't say it's the best either, it is better than the original 2015 version. This variant of Captain Marvel is honestly the worst Captain Marvel minifigure that LEGO's ever given us, looking back on it. It's just a bland minifigure, looking back on it. So, yeah, I don't have too much else to say about the two figures. Let's move on to some other stuff. So, yeah, next up, we have, I guess I'm just gonna compare, like the two villains, I suppose. The Outrider and the Chitauri. This is probably going to be the most difficult one yet, because the Outrider minifigures from 2018 and 2019 were pretty detailed and even introduced a new back attachment piece that is heavily used to this day. I'm pretty sure even outside of the Marvel LEGO theme by now. And the Chitauri this is probably one of the best Chitauri minifigures that we've ever gotten. It is incredibly detailed, and definitely a lot more detailed than the 2019 Chitauri minifigures. Either way, the Outriders were definitely used quite a bit throughout both Infinity War and Endgame, while the Chitauri, I don't exactly remember being used too much in Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame. Like, I think there were, like, a scene or two in Infinity War, and, like, I just mainly remember Outriders being in both movies. The Chitauri were more, like, from the first Avengers movie, and that was mainly how I remember them. So, yeah. I mean, I probably didn't pay attention enough to the Chitauri, which is understandable, because, I mean, let's face it, when compared to, like, all our favorite, like, Avengers in the Endgame final battle scenes, like, yeah, it's kind of hard to notice, I suppose. So, yeah, that's pretty understandable, but, yeah, not to mention the main accessory this Chitauri minifigure has is just a normal stud shooter in silver with a purple stud that just, yeah, it's just nothing new or interesting, really, just a normal stud, to say the least. So, yeah, nothing interesting. But at least it is still a pretty good figure. As for the Outrider, again, both minifigures are pretty detailed, and I'm kind of rooting for the Chitauri a little. Just a little bit, though. Like, if this is a 2019 Chitauri design, then I'd totally go for the Outrider. If this was the 2021 Outrider versus the 2019 Outrider, then the 2021 Chitauri would definitely win. Heck, I'm pretty sure this Outrider would even beat the 2019 Chitauri. Like, yeah, the 2019 Chitauri minifigure is pretty bad. So, yeah, I think I'm rooting for the new Chitauri minifigure just a little bit. So, yeah. Not to mention, as of recording this video, this Chitauri minifigure is pretty rare. But then again, as of recording this video, there's also a rumored minifigure pack for the LEGO Infinity Saga, and I'm pretty sure that should include a couple more Chitauri, judging by, like, what I've seen from recent LEGO Marvel minifigure packs, so, yeah. But I don't have too much else to say about these two figures, so, yeah. And then I guess I may as well just compare Black Panther and Nebula. Now, Nebula does at least have an exclusive headpiece or face printing to the Avengers Compound Battle, whereas the Black Panther minifigure is actually reused in the $20 Infinity Saga Dragonflyer LEGO set. But still, the Black Panther minifigure does have some nice printing. As for Nebula, the only thing exclusive or interesting about this particular variant of Nebula is her head printing. That's basically everything cool and exclusive about Nebula. While the Quantum Realm suits are also pretty cool, they are incredibly common and overused throughout the 2019 Avengers LEGO sets. So, yeah, there's nothing that interesting about this Nebula minifigure. Honestly, I don't know which figure is better. A minifigure that is just reused throughout another $20 set, or a minifigure with an exclusive head printing, but has, I think I'm rooting for Nebula a little bit, actually, because at least she does have nice torso and leg printing, even though it is incredibly common, but at least the head printing is exclusive, so I'll give this Nebula minifigure that. So I think I'm actually rooting for Nebula a little bit in this case. Just a little, again. And then we have a couple minifigures versus one big figure, that being Hulk, and I suppose Thor and Captain America. Now, honestly, this is probably going to be another tough battle, because there isn't a second big figure in the Avengers Endgame Final Battle. But there is an extra minifigure. I chose Captain America and Thor to compare with Hulk, so, yeah, the original 2019 Hulk big figure is pretty nice, I'd say. Has nice leg printing and a smiling expression, whereas Captain America and Steve Rogers are pretty good as well, or, I meant Captain America and Thor. We get a nice, brand new Captain America shield design, as well as Thor's hammer Mjolnir, so that is really cool. And heck, even for Captain America, you can actually remove his cap and, cowl, and you can actually give, Steve Rogers his hairpiece. And, as for Thor, he actually has, a nice build for Stormbreaker that's been around since 2018, believe it or not. Yeah, same build since 2018, as well as a nice face print overall. And this is definitely a bit of a tough battle, but I think both Captain America and Thor as minifigures are honestly a little better than the Hulk big figure, because I'm guessing that a single big figure means around 2 minifigures, so yeah, so I'm kind of rooting for the Hulk big figure here, so, yeah. So, time for me to just put all the minifigures back up here. So I can safely say that, while at times it was definitely a somewhat tough battle, I can safely say that the figure selection for the Infinity Saga Avengers Endgame Final Battle LEGO set is definitely a lot better than the Avengers Compound Battle. Like, the minifigures in this set are a lot more detailed, and as of recording this video, they're more exclusive, and in general, especially with the Thanos big figures, like, it is pretty easy to tell who would win this battle. So yeah, but trust me, things would get a lot more complicated from here on. Because this is just the figure selection for these Lego sets. Like, we haven't even gotten to the real Lego sets yet. The builds. So, yeah, like, this is just the figure selections alone. So, yeah, so now it's time for me to basically get to the real attractions of the set. The builds. I think I may as well just start a little bit small with the builds and just start with the vehicles themselves, rather than, like, the official buildings. So, yeah, and I think it is pretty clear that the Avengers Compound Battle has more vehicles, is a lot more vehicle heavy than, the Avengers Endgame Final Battle. But, honestly, does something have to be more vehicle heavy to be better? 'Cause I don't think so. Honestly, as far as these two vehicles go, I mean, this thing definitely has quite a bit of play features, like a couple of stud shooters, which all you have to do is press this, and the stud basically shoots out. And, yeah, and you can also, like, rotate this, and of course you can do the, run it as well, and put a minifigure inside there. And, yeah, it is pretty cool, but honestly, aside from that, this vehicle doesn't have any real play features. Oh, and you can also put a minifigure on the back here. But as for the van build, unlike this vehicle where I don't think it was in the movie at all, I mean, unless you could, like, remove this top part off and, like, grab your Hulk big figure and place him there, and, like, recreate that one scene from Avengers Endgame where, like, they go to, like, New Asgard or something. You could do that, I suppose, but, like, aside from that, I do not recall this vehicle being in the movie whatsoever. Or this ugly helicopter build, as a matter of fact. But this vehicle, being from the LEGO Infinity Saga line, this was from the movie, actually. You can remove this top part and place a minifigure in there, but there is, like, a couple holes in there, which I do not like, and there's quite a bit of space in there. And, I mean, I guess spacious vehicles isn't that bad, especially when compared to these two, which, yeah. Not to mention that on the back here, you can actually open this up and it reveals the quantum portal. So, at least, if this was an accuracy contest, the van would definitely win easily against both of these vehicles, because neither of these vehicles, especially this helicopter, didn't even appear in the movie. And as for the helicopter build, well, I mean, as you may expect, you can spin the rotor, as with any LEGO helicopter. And it also has a rapid stud shooter, which, if you don't know how these work, you just turn this and a stud just shoots out. And you can open up the cockpit and place a minifigure inside there. But here's the problem. Like, in order to open the cockpit, like, notice that one of the rotors just block it. That is a pretty big flaw for this helicopter, and it is definitely something that was a little frustrating for me with this particular helicopter build, looking back on it. And honestly, in general, just looking back on it, I think I was a bit too soft on these vehicles when I first got this LEGO set. Looking back on it, they are unnecessary additions to this LEGO set. They really are. They aren't accurate. The helicopter build is plain awful looking back on it. Like, it really is. Like, did anyone ask for this helicopter build? Like, this van was at least from the movie Avengers Endgame. These two weren't. Like, why did LEGO have to add them in? In general, these two vehicles were definitely an unnecessary addition to the Avengers Compound Battle, and were probably the reason it is as overpriced as it is. So, yeah, I can safely say that for both accuracy... Well, okay, sure. The only thing that this van is awful at is play features. Yeah, that is, unfortunately, the only thing this van is bad at. But play features aren't everything. I mean, if you're a kid's toy company, I understand. Play features are pretty important. But these two vehicles just have common play features that you'd expect in your average Lego vehicle from a licensed theme based off of a superhero movie. Just can do this. You can place a minifigure inside both vehicles. There's stud shooters. Like, I mean, the play features in these vehicles are just generic. They really are. Like, it's not. There's no interesting or like risky play features. No, it's just your average play features you'd expect in your average Lego superheroes vehicle. Like those are the play features that both of these vehicles have. And this helicopter is just ugly looking. Like, yeah, I mean, sure, there are definitely parts of the van build I am not very fond of, but at least it is accurate from the movie. Unlike these two vehicles, which just, in general, they're just inaccurate. So, honestly, yeah, like, these two vehicles are just inaccurate, have generic play features, and just were unnecessary to the Avengers Compound Battle Lego set. The van, on the other hand, despite having even less play features, is at least accurate to the movie, and is definitely a much better build than these two. Honestly, I can easily say that the van build is a far better build than these two. These are just unnecessary additions to my LEGO Marvel display in general. Just something you'd expect from a 2019 and 2020 Marvel LEGO set. So yeah, now that we're done with the pretty aggravating vehicles that the Avengers Compound Battle had to offer, let's take a look at the two buildings side by side and just see how massive they are. And you can tell they are pretty massive, alright. Like, let's just take a moment and just appreciate this. Like, let's just, yeah, this is impressive. So, yeah, let's just take a look at, like, starting with the play features, I suppose. So, and as well as starting with the exteriors. So, yeah, okay. You know what, let's just, okay, play features it is, because it's the fun stuff. So, yeah, so first here we have, like, an entry area, which features this really cool gate. Yeah, I don't know, it's really cool to me, but I will guarantee you it's been used in some other LEGO sets from other LEGO sets themes, mainly LEGO City. You also get this, like, satellite build, which I really like the satellite of. You also get a satellite build in the remake, but on the top of the building, but honestly, I personally kind of prefer the original build for the satellite, if I had to be honest. So, yeah. You also get this garage build, which you can just open up, and again, an ugly car is supposed to go in there, again, so, yeah. And you also get a couple of dual stud shooters, as well as a landing pad for the ugly helicopter. And you even get an entrance with, I mean, what you'd expect. An opening and closing door feature. And up here you get dual spring-loaded shooters, which just press on that, and yeah, it just goes out like that. And yeah, and then over on the back here, you can actually have a nice table build, as well as a really cool feature that's like an elevator, where like you can just place a minifigure in there and just like turn it around like this, and then like you can have like the minifigure just walking from there. That's definitely one of the coolest play features the 2019 Avengers Compound Battle had to offer. And you can also grab the Infinity Gauntlet and place it on this thing, and place it basically inside of like some laser gate kind of thing. So that is also really cool, as like easy access. You can also just put it down like that. So yeah, and you even get a tool shed right there as well, which is pretty cool. So yeah, this thing is definitely has some play features, but a ton of the play features are, again, pretty generic. Even the satellite, the tool shed. Sure, this play feature is genius because it means easy access, and there's also a computer in there. So, Yeah, but honestly, the most unique play feature and cool play feature about this LEGO set is definitely this door. Like, it is definitely the coolest play feature about this LEGO set. Everything else about the original 2019 Avengers Compound Battle, however, is just generic. As for the new Endgame Final Battle set, you get this spring-loaded launcher, which just presses this, and they shoot far. Like, they are powerful. And I suppose if you want to, you could just remove this. And, like, on the other side, you also have, like, this, like, Carnage featuring, like, the Avengers logo all broken, which you can also remove. Like, I guess removing and, I guess, swapping things around, I guess, could count as a play feature, maybe. But, yeah. And again, we have a satellite build as well, and honestly, I definitely prefer the satellite build from the original Avengers Compound Battle. It may be a little generic, but I kind of prefer it. And, of course, you can open and close the door. As for in here, there is actually, some stuff. There's a weapons holder, as well as a normal table, and even a plant, which is nice. And in here, you can actually, just remove this table. And it does feature, I guess, a minifigure scale nano gauntlet, but definitely does not compare to the big figure size nano gauntlet, that's for sure. So, yeah, in general, definitely have seen a lot more interesting things. So, yeah, and you even get a cage build right here. Oh, and I also really like this hallway design. That is really nice. I definitely prefer that, like, over the, over whatever the heck is, like, going on in here. Like, there's, aside from a computer, like, there's just nothing. As for in the remake, like, you get a cage, like a laser cage, like, something to, like, research about the nano gauntlet, and even a nice hallway to get to the locations. And, of course, you can put the cage down and put Thanos or a big figure, or even a ton of minifigures in there if you wanted to. So, that is really cool. So yeah, and in general, and as far as space goes, I mean, while there is, I guess, space in the original Avengers Compound Battle, I mean, this side is just covered up by vehicles. And, as for, like, over here, yeah, there is honestly not too much going on in this part. Like, there's no hallway, it's just like a room with just a computer and a cage to put your Infinity Gauntlet in. So, as much as I hate to admit it, despite the fact that the, Avengers Compound Battle, is not as interesting of a LEGO set in my opinion,